prepared for a purpose. What the purpose of a thing is determines the kind of preparation that thing is going to go through. So if we are making a knife, the purpose of this knife is that it's going to be used to cut stuff. And so because it's going to be used to cut, the preparation demands that we must grind it and we must give it sharp edges. If we are making a vehicle engine, we know combustion is going to take place in the engine. There will be high temperatures and heat in there. So because of what this is going to do, it informs then how we prepare it. So how do we prepare it? We must look for hard steel, heavy metal that can be able to contain that energy. That extreme temperatures. If we are making a tire, the purpose for which is going to be flexibility. The tire allows the car to move. So then we need material that can allow it to be inflated and deflated. It's the purpose that then informs how the preparation would look like. The uniqueness for which something is going to do or to serve then informs the unique way in which it's prepared. So much so that your unique assignment determines how God prepares you. Then that helps you understand that life is not random. You're not just going through motions of life. Everything you're going through, in a way, is building to prepare and equip you for where God is taking you. We saw in the last video that God was going to use David to restore the leadership in Israel, which King Saul had brought into shambles. And how does God prepare David? First of all, we know he was a shepherd's boy who used to hang out in the fields with his father's sheep. He was taking care of them. And then we also know from evidence, not just in 1 Samuel 16 and 17, but also when you read Psalm, like Psalm 69, Psalm 51, like verse 5, you get the picture that David lives in this family where he's not embraced or he's not accepted. In fact, some theologians have argued that there is a possibility David's brothers or family members considered him actually as a bastard or a child that was born out of wedlock. Sorry to use that word. And there are discussions and debates about that. We don't want to get into it now. But we see, and what we know is that he lives in this family that has not fully embraced him. And that's why when Samuel tells Jesse, I'm coming, bring over your sons, Jesse actually shamelessly does not bring David. Sort of to say, I don't consider you as my son. Well, we don't know whether that was true or not. But we see him ignored. When he goes to Eliab to take food to them when they are in the battlefield in chapter 17, we see the animosity. He's only bringing food and coming to check on his brothers, but they are so cruel on him. And he grows in this environment where he's rejected. And number two, he's also in this environment where he's shepherding his father's flock. Now, when he faces Goliath, and when they're about to fight and Goliath comes and says, am I a dog that you send me a small boy with sticks and stones? David, as he's swinging his sling, he begins to recount his experiences in the wilderness. What does he say? You know, this moment is giving the wilderness. He says, Goliath, you really remind me of that day I was in the battlefield and then the bear came. I didn't have a problem with the bear, you know, until it touched one of my sheep. And I said to the bear, don't do that. The bear didn't hear, so I teach the bear a lesson that he doesn't live to tell. And then he says, and another day I was just there and Mufasa shows up, king of the jungle. I don't have a problem with him. I'm actually in his space until he touches one of my sheep. And I don't have an option but kill him. And then David says, and you, Goliath, will be like one of those. What's that? He's been through experiences in the wilderness that have been preparing him for this moment. His faith is stirred when he's facing Goliath, not just because he knows God and loves God, but because he's also gone through experiences that have stretched his faith. So when he is standing in the face of Goliath, then we know initially he would probably think facing a bear and facing a lion, those are normal occurrences in the wilderness. I mean, lions come every day. But now he realizes they were not just normal, but these were things God was using to prepare me for this moment. The greatest platform of his life that's about to open him up to the door of great favor. So then we know it wasn't random. God allowed him to face the bear and to face the lion because that was going to have an effect on his faith. And when he faces Goliath, it was going to play a great role in stirring up his faith. And that's why Goliath is conquered. So to say, it wasn't a wasted experience. And I want to suggest to you today, sometimes life would feel random. And maybe like me, you found yourself in certain spaces where you've asked questions such as, Lord, why does this have to happen? Why me? Why did you allow me to go through this? Why did you allow me to lose this person? Why did you allow that relationship to break? And you see, sometimes when we try to make a meaning of moments, when we're in that moment, it's an uphill task. It's like you have a puzzle, a small part of a bigger picture that has been shredded into pieces. And you look at this small piece and you're trying to make sense. What could this be? Chances are you'll get it wrong. Until you get all the pieces, put them together, then you can look at the larger context and say, it's actually a beautiful painting of the sunset. See, the moments and things we go through in life are smaller pieces of a bigger puzzle. And sometimes what you need to do is to allow God carry you through each moment. Yes, it's a painful moment, but go through it with faith. When you look back, you'll see these little moments have fit into a picture. And when you look at it, you'll be like, oh, wow, I see what God was actually doing. You won't see that when you're in the moment because you don't feel anything beyond the pain and the frustration of the season. But as you go forward, you look back like Joseph and you'll say, and we've said this here before, now the pit makes sense. Now the prison makes sense. Now the false accusation makes sense. The puzzle has fit into place and you'll realize the experiences you go through are unique ways in which God is preparing you for your purpose. So if I were you, I'd get a pen and a paper and begin to write down some of those most hurtful experiences you've gone through. Sometimes your purpose is hidden in there. Some of the greatest crises you faced as a young man, write them down. Look at it. Trust God to give you a revealing. And He'll help you understand that this is how I've been preparing you. And I've been with you through it all because I know it's not going to destroy you, but it will actually make you a better person. Pain will make you or break you, wholly dependent on how you process it. It was in the face of crisis that David's purpose was unleashed. Maybe that's exactly the same thing you're going through. Take time, pray about it, and I pray that God reveals it to you and that you change your attitude and open up yourself to be prepared for that unique purpose. Join me in the next video for the furtherance of this conversation. Thank you for watching. God bless you. Asante sana.